What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Quick Bricks NBA DFS podcast. As always, I'm Sean. I'll be your host. Back-to-back decent-sized slates for the NBA. Last night we had 9 games. Tonight we have 8 games. So guess what? You guys get another pod. So with that being said, last night, just going to move on from that one and forget about it. Embiid put up his lowest total scoring for the whole season, and it really just kind of crapped on most of my lineups. I only ran 2 lineups last night, so he killed one, and the other, it was a lot of chalk that went off last night for the injuries with the studs sitting out. So I tried to get a little too cute, I guess, last night, and it kind of burnt me. Hey, it happens. I think more contrarian than most, and hey, whenever you do that, sometimes you're just gonna fall flat on your fucking face. So last night I did. Anyway, not mad about it. Moving on, got another nice slate tonight. We're gonna go ahead and talk about that right now. Let's see here. We'll start it off with Atlanta at Cleveland. 225 on the total, 5.5 for Cleveland as a home favorite. Not really sure why they're favored, but Atlanta, as they showed last night, is not very good. But we also know that the Cavaliers are not very good either, as they have not won a game. So this actually has the highest total on the board at the current moment. So I think this game is going to be one that you really want to get in. I think there's a lot of good options on it. For Cleveland, I think you can look at guys like Larry Nance at 6.2. He's been getting a lot of run. His price has gone up, but he's been producing pretty well. He will be as long as Kevin Love is out. He's looking to be out for a while, so Larry Nance is going to be a plug for a while. Rodney Hood at 5.1. Let's see here. He just put up a real nice game last game, put up 31.8 FPs in his last game. So maybe Rodney Hood's starting to find his shot. I've been waiting. I missed him on the last game, but I definitely probably will be playing a little bit of Rodney Hood tonight in this game. Jordan Clarkson at 4.6 is nice. If you want to get real freaky, you can go try to play Kyle Korver against his old team if you're into that revenge narrative. He hasn't really been playing fruitful minutes, so it's kind of a punt and it's kind of a risk of big boomer bust there. For Atlanta, Kent Bazemore at 5.7. The guy's price really hasn't gone up, and he's been the driving force for this whole Atlanta team. Took 16 shots last night, put up 18, 3, 1, 2, and 2 against Philadelphia. So Bazemore, I'd definitely be looking at him. Trae Young at 7.2. If you remember the last time they played the Cavaliers, he put up 60 fantasy points. So if you're into that sort of thing, I know he hasn't really been doing much lately, but who knows? He's 7.2K, so it's kind of up there, but he's a good option. He's going to get a lot of usage still. So if you want to go cheap, I think you can look at Omari Spellman at 3.3. He saw 23 minutes last night, put up 21 fantasy points. The guy seems to be pretty good. I saw him grab a couple offensive boards last night. He's going to be a good player. So I would look at Spellman. Brimbury, I think you can look at again if you want to. I don't hate it. But that's about what I'm looking at for Atlanta. Cleveland, going to move right along to Sacramento and Orlando. Total of 222 with the Magic coming in as a 4.5 point home favorite. Absolutely love Vucevic tonight at 8.6. We just saw Hassan Whiteside put up 16 and 24 against Sacramento last night. So Vucevic definitely going to be a play at 8.6. I think Aaron Gordon at 6.8 is a really nice option again tonight. Sacramento on a back-to-back. Aaron Gordon, he has the upside. We all know it. It's there. It's just if we ever get it. He has showed it. I think he had a 50-point plus fantasy point game already in the first game of the season or something. Anyway, you can't dislike Aaron Gordon. I think if you want to go cheap, you can look at DJ Augustine at 4.3, getting his usual 20 to 25 minutes. He's been fairly productive. I think I like Augustine in this spot tonight. For Sacramento, I like 2 people. I like De'Aaron Fox at 6.9. Put up another 40 fantasy point game last night. De'Aaron Fox has been playing really well, guys. So I'll definitely keep watch on De'Aaron Fox. Bajelica at 5.7. His last 3 games have been 43.8, 53.5, and 39.8 fantasy points. So I would most definitely be looking at Bajelica. He's been just killing it. And that's really all I'm going in Sacramento or Orlando. Moving right along to Miami at Charlotte, where the total is 222. A lot of 222s and a lot of two around that total. There's really not a lot of high totals tonight. So Charlotte is -4 at home. Kimba, obviously, we've been fading the Miami point guard spot, and we're going to do it again tonight with Kimba, 8.3. Definitely will be playing Kimba. He's put up 49.5 and 55.5 in his last two home games. Only two home games at that. I like him for a cheapie. I think you can look at Miles Bridges at 3.4. He's played 30 and 26 minutes in his last two, and he's put up double-digit scoring efforts in both. So 3.4, Miles Bridges, I think that's a pretty nice play. For Miami, I think we're going to go Josh Richardson at 6.6. The guy's been playing 35 minutes or more in his last three. He's put up, really good fantasy production so far, and he's basically their go-to guy other than Dragic. I'm not a big fan of Dragic tonight. He's not that GPP play that I need from a point guard like Kimbo that I know can score 40 points at any night. Dragic he's a great scorer, but that's about all he does. He does dish out a few dimes, but I need more. I think Olenek let a lot of people down last night, and I believe he only played 17 minutes. And so this is back-to-back. I think he will see minutes against Aaron Gordon down low. So I definitely will be looking at Olenek at 5.2 for a little bit of a bounce back. I think he's going to be overlooked big time, and hopefully we'll get more than 17 minutes tonight. So definitely be looking at Kelly Olenek. Dwayne Wade at 4.7K, don't hate it. He's been getting 25 to 27 minutes a game. He got 27 last night. I would assume that he probably gets the same amount tonight. At 4.7, we know he has a little bit of upside there, so I definitely wouldn't overlook Dwayne Wade. That's really all that I care about in Miami and Charlotte. We're moving right along to the rematch with Detroit and Boston, where Drummond let us down pretty good last time. He was my big play in that game whenever they played just a few nights ago. And, I mean, he didn't totally disappoint, but he didn't give me what I wanted. Honestly, I think I'm going to be rolling with Blake tonight. I think Blake Griffin is the play in this game at 8.2. I think he's definitely going to be the play. He's been great. He's been great all season. I think his price is very fair here. By the way, the total on this one is 208 with Boston coming in as a 9-point favorite. If you notice, I think they won like 109 to 89 last game. So this is kind of a revenge match already for Detroit. So I would look for them to try to come out hot. We know Boston's a very good basketball team, so I guess we'll see. Other than Blake, I think you can look at Reggie Jackson at 5.2. I just don't think he's going to be looked at. He's very cheap for a guy that's going to get starter minutes. So Reggie Jackson, I don't hate it. I think you can plug him. Obviously, there's not a lot of times that I will play against the point guard spot at Boston. Kyrie's a pretty good defender, but I just think he's going to go overlooked. I think it's very contrarian, and at 5.2, I think I can plug it in and just kind of hope. But if you want to look cheap, you can look at Stanley Johnson. Just this last game, he put up 16, 3, 2, and 1 for 24.8 fantasy points against Boston. So if you're into that sort of thing, he had a nice game last game. He's very cheap. For Boston, Kyrie at 7 flat. I like it. Marcus Morris has put up two nice fantasy games here lately with 30.5 and 37.5 fantasy points in his last two. 37.5 being the one against Detroit. So Marcus Morris, I like that. Looks like Baines is set to come back tonight. And Daniel Theis is not. It looks like he's out, so it looks like Baines will get those majority of the minutes. I believe he would definitely play, and this is one reason that I'm not a big fan of Drummond is because he's really good on defense. I think he's going to see a lot of minutes, and he's really cheap at 3.8K. So Baines I would definitely be looking at tonight. That's about it for Detroit and Boston. Move along to Philadelphia and Toronto. As I mentioned, the last time Embiid played a back-to-back, nobody played him. He was 3%, and he put up 71 fantasy points. Will he do it tonight? I don't know. I think he gets kind of onto himself whenever he has a bad game, like he did last night, his lowest scoring total, and he comes about ready to play the next game, and it just so happens to be a back-to-back. So you get Embiid at 9.7K tonight, a little bit of a reduction from his 10K price last night. I definitely probably will be playing some more Embiid. Call me a glutton for punishment. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to play Embiid, and If he lets me down again, he lets me down again. That's on me. Shame on me, right? Anyway, I'm going to be playing some Embiid. J.J. Redick at 5.4, I like it. Markelle Fultz, it's hard to overlook him at 4.1K. He did put up 16 field goal attempts last night for a 16, 4, and 7 line. It looks like he wants the ball, he's gonna shoot it. So Fultz at that price, I think he's hard to overlook. Mike Muscala at 3.3 played 19 minutes last night, put up 23.8 fantasy points. If you want to punt, I wouldn't hate it. It looks like Toronto. I really like Valanciunas tonight for Toronto. I like him to play quite a bit. I think he's going to bang down low with Embiid. It'd be a good, interesting matchup. He should get to play tonight. 5.4, I like Valanciunas. I think that's a real nice contrarian play there that nobody's probably going to be on. Obviously, Kawhi, he's 9.6K, but, he's put up over 43 fantasy points in 4 of his 5 games. And my boy Kyle Lowry, once again, his price, once again, has not really rise, but maybe like $100, and he's put up over 40 fantasy points still in every single game, put up over 40 last night again. So that's where I'm at in Philadelphia at Toronto. Moving right along to Portland and Houston, which will probably more than likely be your chalk game of the night. Damian Lillard just put up a dud, a pretty good dud last night, 21 fantasy points. So I would definitely be looking for him to bounce back tonight. Looks like there's quite a few bounce back games tonight. Definitely will be on some Lillard. If you were on Zach Collins, you had a pretty good night last night because he put up a pretty good game. He's only 4K. He put up 17 real points last night. He's been playing really well. They're giving him minutes. So Zach Collins at 4.0 is a real nice play. He's put up, like I said, double-digit scoring in 4 of his 6 games so far this season. He's a real nice asset for them off the bench, so look at Zach Collins. Caleb Swanigan at 3.1. I'm not real sure what his thing is or, what his role will be, but he did get 19 minutes off the bench last night, and he had a pretty heck of a game, put up a double-double with 11, 10, 1, and 1 for 27 fantasy points. So if you're into that sort of thing, you might want to look him. That's what I'm kind of liking for Portland. For Houston, going back to Clint Capella, I love fading the Portland center. He doesn't play very good defense. I will be on Capella at 7.7. He had a pretty nice game last game for me. So I will be playing Capella again. I'm going to play Eric Gordon as long as Harden is out because he's putting up 16, 15, 17 shots a game. He will continue to do so. It is at home. I really like Eric Gordon at 6.1. Gerald Green had he's played 23 and 28 minutes in his last 2, 27.8 fantasy points in his last game. He was on the pod last game too. So Gerald Green at 3.9, hard not to like. Carmelo at 5.3. His last 2 games, 39.3 and 35.5 at home. Hey, 5.3 for a power forward is pretty damn good. That's going to probably get 28 to 30 minutes. So Carmelo, again, yep. So that's what I'm looking at for Portland and Houston. Let's move right along to the Clippers and OKC, where it does look like Russ is going to play. He's 10.5. Play Russ. You can't afford not to play Russ if he's one of the few studs on this game in this slate that looks like he could put up 50 or more fantasy points. So Russ, sure. Paul George over 40 fantasy points in 4 of his 5 games so far at 8.7. Yep. Adams and Noel are both questionable, so that one's going to be something to kind of look at. As usually I do fade the Clipper down low. Gortat is just I've faded him all last season, if you remember. So we'll be looking at that scenario to see how that plays out. For the Clippers, this has a total of 224 as well. OKC 2.5-point home favorite. So this is your second highest total of the board, I believe. Yeah, Portland, Houston has 224. Sacramento, Orlando at 222. 222 from Miami, Charlotte. But anyway, I like Montrezl Harrell again at 5.5. The guy's been putting up really, as long as he gets 20 or more minutes. 20 or more minutes, and he's put up 42.5, 28, 46.5. I mean, give him some fucking minutes. I mean, he's been killing it. But Gilgeous Alexander has been playing really well at 4.1, 31 and 28 minutes in his last 2. He just put up 34.5 fantasy points in his last game. Definitely will be looking at him again. Tobias Harris at 7.8. He's the guy that they run their whole scheme through. So don't hate Tobias if you can fit him. But that's really all that I care for. I really like that Portland-Houston game more than this game, kind of. I'm just going to move around. Let's go Washington at Memphis. I think this is sneaky. 217 on the total, Memphis -2. We know usually Memphis at home is a grindhouse. It's usually defense. But Washington likes to push the pace. I think this is a good game. I really think this is a good game. I think I like Conley and I like Gasol. Conley's put up over 40 fantasy points in 3 of his 5. He's 7.6K tonight. I really like Conley. Gasol just put up a 40 fantasy point game against Phoenix in his last game at home. He's 7.5K. I want to look some more into the punts. I just don't really know who I want to play. Wayne Selden's a good one. Jaren Jackson's is a starter. I don't know. I was still looking in Memphis. I was still looking at that one. I'll probably have some more for that in the SD Slack chat later on. But for Washington, obviously, Wall at 8.4. You're not going to see Wall at 8.4 probably again for the rest of the season. So I would definitely take that up, and it's all perception. His price right now is perception. Play John Wall at 8.4. He's probably one of my favorite plays tonight. Oubre at 5.2. He's over 35 fantasy points in 2 of his 4 last road games. He's played 26 or more minutes in all of his road games. Oubre at 5.2. Really like that one. Brad Beal at 6.8. I think 3 of his 4 road games have gone for more than 31 fantasy points. So not exactly what you want, but he's had a couple 40-point fantasy point games in there. So I would look at Brad Beal. So that's really where I'm going tonight. I think there's some sneaky stuff. I really like that Washington-Memphis game because I don't think anybody's going to be looking at it. Wall at 8.4 is really kind of silly. So I think I might do a little small game stack of that one. Like I said, Portland and Houston, I really like that game. Let's see here. Philadelphia and Toronto, I think that one's pretty interesting. Atlanta and Cleveland should be one of your more high-paced games. Has the highest total on the board. So I definitely would be looking into that game as well. But that's going to do it. That's going to be all for me. Another edition. This is the 7th edition of the Quick Bricks NBA DFS podcast brought to you by the good guys over at the Sports Gens. Have a great Tuesday.